I guess these last few weeks have been really crazy for everyone, especially with all the things happening, with the moon, with the stars, with everything, and just the energy around has been really insane. There's a lot of pressure, it seems, building up in the background of the world in a lot of different ways, and we're seeing a lot of our tribe really kind of scattered and losing their direction, losing that focused, feeling that uncertainty and feeling this chaos. And I guess the question for today is, what are the tricks that we use, sharing our tricks on how do we stay focused? How do we keep our direction amongst this chaos? Have you been feeling this lately, Mike?
Yeah, brother, I have. And, the wisdom that I might share today actually won't be mine because I'm really in the throes of it myself. Everything you just mentioned, I'm experiencing. I want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I want to run. I want to disappear. I've had enough. So that's really alive for me as well.
Mm.
But the wisdom I'll share today is as from one of my mentors. And um, maybe that resonates with someone else out there and can help them through this. So during this period, the advice that came through to me was great. And can you be with that discomfort?
Mm.
Because the greatest level of your ability to sit with that discomfort and uncertainty will create the certainty that you're actually craving.
Yep.
And so, what does that actually look like? In this case, it was like, what's one thing that you can do? Just one thing that will keep you in the game, keep you in the arena. And, there might be people in your DMs that you could just simply, like, we try and perfect it and have this beautiful offering or this beautiful Canva designed thing. And it's like, dude, the offer's like $2,000 a month. We go for 12 months. How does that feel? That's enough. Like, it can be that simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be complicated. But when we get into these states of overwhelm or disorientation or a lack of certainty, we tend to complicate it. And so the message that came through for me was just keep it simple and do one thing. Just do one thing that will progress you forward, keep you in the arena, and keep you moving.
Man, best advice ever. Like, really,
Mm,
that one thing, right? It's just
yeah.
always so powerful, and can really get you out of the chaos. I think I think the other thing you just shared, just to elaborate a bit more on it, being at peace with what is, right? Like that whole thing with Eckhart Tolle, it too will pass. Being at peace with what is, however you want to look at that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying not to feel it and getting, be overwhelmed, feel all the things. We all do too, of course.
Mm,
But yeah, that being at peace with what is, because at the end of the day, the cosmic joke is looking
mm,
back at it the day after or 2 days later and going, wow, I really got pretty wound up about that, but right now I feel pretty okay about everything. That's interesting. I could have just not chosen to get wound up about everything and I would have had the same outcome right now, but for whatever reason, that chaos often really is the catalyst for getting our shit together. Really, really. I mean, that's what it is so often, right?
yeah. And I mean, how many people listening would have said this very thing of like, I'm so glad that happened. Well, you say that now that you're through it, but at the time you wanted
Yeah,
to kill yourself. And now you're like, oh, because you have a different perspective.
that's right.
And yeah, when I was talking to my coach, he just said, I said, the discomfort that I'm feeling is so intense. The only thing it's telling me is that I'm on the other side. I'm so close to the breakthrough. I'm imminent. But I can't see it. But if it's this intense now, I
Yeah,
must be really close to the tipping point.
yeah, yeah,
So can I
100%.
hold that line?
Yeah, and just that, you know, the motivation amongst it all, like, I know amongst my circles, like right now, even amongst the people that are perceived to be extremely successful, abundant financially, emotionally, there's a lot of struggles happening right now, and a lot of people kind of reaching out to just, to vent and just the lightness that they receive just by speaking their truth and getting it off their chest. Don't underestimate how that is, knowing that you're not alone.
Mm,
And yeah, I just feel again the catalyst for actually stepping up and getting shit done often doesn't happen until the shit hits the fan. It's pretty
yeah.
much been that way with my life, like all the time. And yeah, I had a few things, personally happen last week that really was that. And from that, a whole lot of things were birthed that were felt more on point than anything I'd ever birthed.
Mhm.
Also, completing what that thing you said before about that one thing, um, coming back to that clarity. I feel like so often we start things but don't finish them. And I think one of the things I'm really
Mm.
instilling, especially in the one thing system, which I definitely love and live by often, like I've been focusing on one things. I'll say one things, as in more than one thing,
Multiple,
but
multiple.
certain one things, and really cracking that niche, with what I've got coming up with the Autism School launching later this year, and the Circular Breathing Academy at the moment, and then the little niche, books and creations and things I specialize in. Those little niches take years to unravel and to fine tune and to launch, but they're so nichey, and I work on them for so long and like years. Like the Autism School, I've been building that out for years, and I'm just
Mm.
launching it in a few months now. And even still, I have to keep coming back to that one thing. I have to keep not letting myself be distracted, and also not, it's got to ebb and flow in the creation, but I keep coming back to that end goal and what that launch of that's going to look like. Because
Mm.
so often people get to the launch and then they go and launch it, and that's it. No, that's not how it works. It's like the creating is one thing, but then once you create it, to launch it, you got to keep. That's when the work starts really. And so many people launch it and then go, why isn't my shit selling? Why
Yeah.
isn't my course selling? And then they move on and do something else, as opposed to shaping everything else now for the next 2 years around selling that one thing that they've birthed.
Mm.
That's I see that happening a lot.
Yeah, you raised a lot of in that little section there. You raised a heap, which was birthed out of our mastermind, which I'll share to sort of reinforce what you just said. One thing you said there is you're not alone, and I went into this our group meeting on Monday and thought, this is, I'm just struggling. I'm embarrassed to show up because surely everyone else is crushing it. Everyone in our container was like, it turned into a therapy session because everyone was struggling. So this is the benefit of a mastermind like the school that you run or the groups that I run or the masterminds that we're in, is that you get a sense that you're not a man on an island on your own. There are other people at the same time navigating the same thing, which gives you a sense of, oh, I didn't expect them to go through it. So at least, that feels better and that lightens the load.
Yeah, 100%.
And you were talking about also doing those one things. And as you said, there's multiple one things. It's about completing those one things, though, like you were suggesting, because what happens is we get to a certain point of tension, like your school of autism is almost there, but it's not. And what that is that level of discomfort about it almost being done sometimes gets too much, and we go to a shiny new toy over here to relieve the tension.
Yeah.
Can we hold the line? And in that moment, the advice that came through in that very particular instance was great. You're so close. You're almost across the line. Choose three more things to it, three more things that will complete it, and then do those things. And the reward is at the end of those three things, you get to start the new toy.
That's right. Yeah.
And and then the final point which you shared was, and this is what I see in all of the groups that I run, is it's about fast feedback. So let's say you launch the School of Autism, you get feedback, and then you go into refinement. So as you said, just because it's launched, it's not done. It's just
No.
beginning. It's the next incarnation of, okay, refinement, refinement. How can I streamline it, make it faster, make it better, get feedback? And
Yeah.
after, like if I run a masterclass, I'll do it 4 times before I turn it into a product.
Yeah.
That way I can get the feedback from each one of the groups, see
Yeah.
how it's landing, and go, great, now I can actually turn this into an evergreen product.
Yeah. I love that. Yep. And just, I think to put that into perspective too, the launch is just the beginning, really. Like, just to remember that, guys, like the launch is just the beginning.
Yeah. It's
Um,
the fireworks from all the back end that no one's seen.
yeah.
And then the launch is over. It's actually a very finite period
Yeah.
that you get to sit in the sun, and then it's like back to the drawing board. We start again.
Yeah, I've actually really changed my impact of my launches these last few months. About I can't remember who it was, but someone really inspired me a few months back, saying like, people get this all wrong. Like they spend months leading up to telling people that the launch is happening on this day. Not that this
Mm.
is wrong, but like this was just this person's perspective that's extremely successful right now. I remember who it was now, and yeah, saying that I don't bother, man. I just get it launched. Like I'll just announce the launch. I'll announce this launch is out there. You can get it right now. Go here. That's it. And then you keep focusing on that thing. So, like, let's say with all my books and courses that I recorded last year, originally the plan was to spend like 2 or 3 weeks getting the launch for each one of those books and having specials and sales and stuff. And yeah, a few people care, and yeah, maybe we get a few sales, but really people just kind of want it now. And when it's out, then you can actually focus that energy on, okay, now let's get it out. Like, just
Yeah.
keep it going out and working on all those different ways. So then you start forming all your social media around that stuff, or your content, or your other courses, or your challenges, and all the things that go with it to get that to just keep. Now the product's out, we keep pushing it, and that's going to go on for years. It's actually going to go on for the rest of my life. They're evergreen courses, so the publicity of the launch is never going to actually end. It's just ongoing forever and ever now.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And I think too with that the people go into launch mode and they make it all about the launch, and they never actually launch it because
Yep.
they're basically the back end story to that is perfectionism, which is basically someone with no boundaries.
That's
They're like,
right.
oh, one more edit, one more tweak, one more graphic, one more thing, and then the launch date gets pushed. Whereas the person who launched it, when it's got half an idea, it doesn't even have a name yet, and they've just gone, like, I know one of my coaches, he launched a product and someone said, what is it? What's the offer? And he said, it's called the offer, because he didn't have a name for it. He just said it's called the offer. And he sold 12 people into this program called the offer before it even had a name.
Yep.
But he had 12 sales, plus he had all of that time to go into refinement. So yeah, I'm a big believer in send it and pick up. I think it was Richard Branson who said, if I've got an idea that's 50% correct, I'll launch it and figure out the 50% along the way.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that I always say is that I build the car, I build the chassis, or the floor and the wheels, push it
Yeah.
out the driveway on a downward angle, and then just build the shit as I go. That's what I
There
do.
we go.
That's what I've always
Yes.
done.
Yeah.
And it's worked out really well. So, that doesn't resonate with everyone, and that's cool. But there is a power in that motion, and learning, staying open to receive that criticism and magic, and learning along the way is so much of the magic that often makes these things form. I just launched this YouTube thing a month ago now. Let me refresh to see if I've got my first 1,000 subscribers. No, 998, getting there. So with that, just
I better go subscribe and make it 1,000.
oh man, do it. You could almost crack it for me right now.
Let me crack it. I want to be the 1,000.
Yeah. Anyone else listening, go for it. J Hode on YouTube. That'd be awesome. But what's happened? I just had this thought this morning. Was now there's the comments starting to roll in, and these people are becoming a bit like family. Like there's people, like I've just launched my bar chord challenge, for people wanting to learn bar chords. And there's a couple of guys, and I think they're in America, that are like keep messaging me saying like, oh, this thing, and it's without this I would have never actually learned bar chords, and bar chords have always been plaguing me. So now I'm starting to design content for these one or two random dudes in America that is like, so I did this 5-day bar chord challenge, and then other people are now starting to reach out about that same thing. And now this morning I replied to 3 people saying, guys, day 3 is coming out in the next couple of days. Wait for it, because it's going to address all of your questions that you just asked me, and going to make your life heaps easier. So it's coming soon. So now I've got this problem that's just, I've got content that needs to be fulfilled. So I can see this family and how these YouTube channels become kind of like family orientated,
I can see that now. I never looked at it that way, but I can see in some other videos I've seen, they're talking directly to people, even though it's a general public video.
Yeah.
They're talking specifically to a question from 2 videos ago.
That's right. And it's interesting how those things, like, so my next video for the first time is going to be me being like, hey guys, like, I'm just going to firstly address these questions that people have been asking about how they've been struggling with these certain aspects of these chords. And in this video, I'm going to aim to make this, this, and this fix straight away. And then we're going to move on to the content, blah, 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 blah. So it's got this little, family vibe kind of already happening, which is, I'm only, I think maybe 10 videos in now, long form content. I've been doing short form content every day, that we use that like AI software to help with that, which makes the load a little easier. Because that long form content is work, is a thing. But anyway, the point of that story is the comments and the constructive criticism really shapes those floors with wheels that we push out of our driveways on a downward angle.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. It's I was actually going to comment on your YouTube channel because people talk about, let's say it's a product, it's a program, it's a social media post, or they're starting a new brand or whatever it may be. and I don't know, you've got 1,000 odd subscribers. You will, by the end of the day, you'll have 1,000 subscribers. Hardly anyone will remember your first video.
Yeah.
So just start. The point is just start, because
Just start.
everyone's so worried about getting it right. But I know I can't remember what my first post was. I know it was terrible.
Yeah.
And I know because I'd never done video before. And here I am doing this video for the first time in 2009. And it was new back then. No one was really doing videos. And I don't even know where it is. Like, so no one's going to find it. So just do the thing.
Just do it.
There's a trillion posts that go up per day. So no one's
Yeah.
really going to remember your first post where you tanked it.
Yeah, and the people will talk, give you the feedback, and you get that direction to go as you go. Speaking of which, you need to get on a plane to Bali to go and run some retreats. I need to have a meeting with my team to launch the Australian Circular Breathing Academy in the next 48 hours, and we must go. So a short podcast today, but
I can
brother,
punch
thank
you.
you so much for the time. And we'll have a big podcast next time in a couple of weeks' time.
Love you, brother. Talk
Love you,
soon.
mate. Great work.
Bye
See you
bye.
soon, everybody.